Hey, everybody. Welcome to West Coast Women for Kamala. We are so excited to have all of you joyful warriors here to get organized, mobilized, and energized for these last final weeks of the race. So we have so many great guests for you, and it is going to be a fantastic night. We've got a world-famous comedian, a U.S. representative, a political strategist, best-selling authors, influencers, and activists. This night is going to be fabulous. Now, my name is Jen Buck, and I'm your host for the evening, and I'm also the co-founder of West Coast Women for Kamala. But before we jump into the guests, I want to read off the norms for the evening, which you can see right next to me, and they're going to get us all on the same page. So let me read through these norms for you, and I think it's just going to set the tone for everything you're going to go through. You will be getting all of these slides. And the reason I tell you this is because you don't have to take notes. You can enjoy this whole process, and you're going to be getting these slides here within the next week. We're also going to have guaranteed some kind of technical glitch because it always happens. So we're going to ask you to please be patient, embrace it, laugh it off, and just sort of move forward with us. Now, the third one is we are going to be giving you calls to action right on this event. And we're hoping that you want to get involved. Now, this is not really a fundraising event. What we're trying to do is bring everyone together so that we can start creating action. Now, I am your host, as I mentioned. So if you have any issues or questions, you can try to get back in. We do not have the chat open, but we do want you watching that chat. And so if there are any problems, you can always reach out via Facebook into our West Coast Women for Kamala Facebook, and you can put some kind of post in there. And one of our group members that are behind the scenes will make sure that they look for your message. And lastly, if you need closed captioning on, make sure you take care of that right there on your page. So one more quick housekeeping thing. If you want to stay with us after today's event, so technically we go 6 to 7:30. If you want to stay with us after, we're going to be putting on a reach training with the Harris campaign, and it's going to happen right in this space at the end of the event. Reach is our tool for online organizing, where you can access libraries of content and receive updates on priority messaging. Reach provides an easy-to-use platform to organize your networks and initiate conversations and track interactions. So, okie doke, here we go. Let's get this party started. I've gotten all the housekeeping out of the way, and this is where it gets exciting. So, if you've joined us before, you know that we like to keep things really fast and fun around here with as many diverse voices as we can bring in. We only keep these chats that you're going to see tonight under 5 minutes. So buckle up because things are moving very quickly. We know that we want to get you as much information as we can. You're going to get a ton tonight. I am so excited for our first guest because she is my favorite person on all of social media. Vanessa Branda, or her screen name that you might know, which is Little Miss VRB. Now, some of you might even know her from her old screen name, which was Little Miss Marxist. She is a fearless warrior and takes no prisoners in her posts. Vanessa's been a content creator for over 4 years and has quickly become a rising star in the political influencer space, even getting a chance to recently meet our future president, Kamala Harris, and she was just invited to the White House a couple of weeks ago. She contributes a funny and spicy take on current events and political, or I should say, and politics on various platforms like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and our new Blue Haven Threads. Vanessa also just produced a feature film, and I cannot wait to see it. And she's the political content contributor and creator of Politoxic Podcast. And you can watch and listen and all that good stuff on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. So please help me welcome this warrior to the stage, Little Miss VRB in the flesh, Vanessa Branda.
Hi, everybody. Jen, that intro was just so kind. I don't know how I followed that. It was so great. Hi, everybody. My name is Vanessa Branda. I am an activist and content creator, and I'm so excited to be back here on our second West Coast Women for Kamala call to help elect our first woman president of the United States. We have a great lineup tonight of a bunch of amazing speakers that are going to be bringing a bunch of information for you guys, ways to get active in the community. And so I thought that I would start the call going right back to basics. So as we know, Republicans' main goal is going to be to deter you from voting and to make it much more difficult for you to vote. So the very first action item that you should have, and be reminding your friends to do this on a weekly basis, is religiously checking your voter registration. Specifically, if you live in a red state or one of the battleground states, this is where we're frequently seeing this happen. So as we just saw in Oklahoma, they purged a couple 100,000 voter registrations. This is happening in Ohio, and we also know about it in Georgia. So the very first step is going to be to make sure that you're registered all the way up until your ballot has been cast. The second thing I wanted to touch on is reading comprehension is something that I struggle with, and I know that filling out a ballot can be really intimidating for some people. And so part of preparing for you to get yourself ready to vote is to know your ballot. If you don't know how to fill it out correctly, there is absolutely no shame in that. There's endless amounts of information on the internet that you can find to do that. And in doing my preparation for this call today, I decided that I'm going to make a video to help people with their ballots, because this is a very important part of the process. If it is not filled out correctly, your envelopes aren't put correctly, your ballot doesn't count at all. So those are two of the things that you guys should start with. We're 41 days away from this election, but there are endless ways that you can assist in this. And I am putting a special request that everybody go and try and help in the battleground states, because in my opinion, that is our only pathway to winning this election, besides the passion. But I am planning on doing phone baking in Nevada a little bit later this week, and there's endless opportunities for you guys to do that. I am going to be posting some links on my social media channels for if you would like to volunteer and do that. If you are in a battleground state and you feel comfortable, we always need people to go knock doors, get out in the community, speak to people, and just work towards the end of our goal. So what I love so much about this campaign is that it starts with passion, but we have to back that with action. So I'm so excited to watch all of the amazing speakers that we have tonight. And you guys can find me on basically all social media platforms. I'm posting daily content, and it's actually going to shift to become a lot more educational to help you with the process. So thank you so much, Jen, for inviting me back. I am down to come on anytime, and let's get the party started tonight. I'm so excited to see everybody.
Yay, thank you so much. How amazing is she? I told you you were going to love her, Little Miss VRB. If you have not followed her on social media, do. I'm telling you, she is a warrior. Give her some hearts if you can in the comments in the area over there where you can push emojis, because this is a woman who every day is churning out content just to help all of us be more informed and, you know, to be bigger warriors. So there you have it. So we have an action item for you. I told you we were going to give you lots of action items throughout the night, and here is your first one. We want you right now to share this event with your friends, like literally right this second. If you go in and check the chat, so check that out, you will see a link to this Zoom. We are going to challenge you right now to either post about it on one of your social media platforms right this second and say, come join me, or text it to one of your joyful warriors, someone that you know that would just fit in perfectly here, learn a little bit more about what they can do. We need to get more people at our table right now. The way that we ensure that we are not going back is by making sure that we get all hands on deck. So there's your first challenge. Share the event, get it out there. All right, so as you're doing that, we are going to show you a short video from the campaign, and it's on voter protection. Now, you're going to notice as you get these videos that are shown to you, they're about a minute, sometimes not even that much. I think this first one's less than that, but you're going to notice that there's a QR code that's on the screen. What we want you to do is to snap your picture of that QR code, because all of these QR codes are going to get you into the loop with the Harris campaign so that you can do little things at your pace from where you're at, because we know not everyone wants to knock a door, but there are lots of other ways for you to get involved. So when you see that QR code, grab your phones, take a picture, or if you're on your phone, grab a snapshot so that you can get involved as soon as you can. So with that, why don't we go ahead and watch the video?
Hey, we know that our democracy is on the line in this election, but each of you can protect voters and our election system wherever you are. And you don't even need to be a lawyer. Sign up to join our voter protection program by scanning this QR code.
All right. So as we mentioned, those QR codes, they move fast. That video was really short. We were hoping that you got it, but hang with us because there are going to be more videos and you're going to want to grab that screenshot or take that quick picture. So our next speaker is Cassidy Huff, and I've been dying to hear her all night long as I've been prepping for this. She's a disability rights advocate with Disabled Voters for Harris-Walz. She's also a singer, songwriter, actress, voiceover artist, and best-selling author. She was born with a rare genetic type of dwarfism called Cohn-Roddy-Hunerman syndrome, which affects her entire body. She spent the first 18 years in and out of the hospital and encourages others to find their own voice and advocate for what they believe in. Tonight, Cassidy's going to talk to us about the importance of disability rights in our voting places and championing her vision for the future by protecting access for all voters. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy Cassidy Huff.
Hello, everyone. It's such an honor to be here. Thank you so much to the West Coast women for inviting me. I'm truly so excited to be here. So I am the co-founder and executive director of Disabled Voters for Harris, and we are determined to get every single person out there to vote, whether you are disabled, whether you're not disabled, because at the end of the day, disability is inevitable. Every single person will become disabled at some point in their lives, whether that's illness, whether that's because of an accident, or simply because of older age. So this means that every single issue is a disability issue. And that means that disabled voters, we need our voices heard too. We need to get out, we need to come to the polls in droves, and we need to prove that we deserve a seat at the table. Unfortunately, we have to prove that. But I will be talking all about the accommodations that there are at polling places. So first of all, I'm in California. We are a mail-in ballot state. I grew up in Washington State. They were also a mail-in ballot state. So what this means is that your ballot comes to you in the mail, and you do everything from the comfort of your own home, which is great, but not every single state has this rule. So if you are not in a mail-in ballot state, a great way to check that is by going to vote.org. That is vote.org. And you can check if you are in a mail-in ballot state. This means your ballot comes directly to you with all of your supplies that you may need, and you can fill it out from the comfort of your own home. If you are not in a mail-in ballot state, you may be eligible to ask for an absentee ballot to be sent to your home. This is basically when you tell the government, hey, I can't physically go to the polls. Can I please mail in my ballot? And they will send you, exactly like a mail-in ballot state, your ballot in the mail. Now, if you are not in an absentee ballot state, some states don't allow you to do that either. So what you can do is obviously go to the polls. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to check if you are in a curbside voting state, if your state allows curbside voting. What this means is that the polling volunteer will bring all of your ballot and all of the information out to your car or out in front of the polling place. So you will be completely in privacy. They will make sure that nobody is going to influence your voting process at all. And that's their job, to make sure that you are safe and to make sure that they are providing a private location for you. So they're going to bring everything out to you. And so make sure to check if you are in a curbside voting state. If not, you are going to call your nearest polling location and figure out if they're accessible. If you need assistance with this, we at Disabled Voters for Harris are determined to help you create an individualized voting plan. This means please go to our website, disabledvotersforharris.com. Please reach out to us on social media, just Disabled Voters for Harris on all social media, and we will help you get to the polls and make sure your ballot is counted because your voice deserves to be heard. You deserve to be seen, and we all deserve a seat at the table. And I'm so excited to elect our future president, Kamala Harris, this election season. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, Cassidy. You are awesome. And I learned so much. Everybody give her some love so that as she is going out of the Zoom, she sees your hearts coming through. We're so grateful for that information, Cassidy. And like you said, everybody is going to be impacted at this. Yo, look at all those hearts, Cassidy. I hope you can see it. Everybody's going to be impacted by this at some point. And it is so important that we all fight now to make sure that we are all able to vote. So grateful for you. Thank you so much. Okay, everybody. So we're cooking now, right? We have another short video. I told you earlier they were short. That other one was really short, right? So get your phones ready or get ready to snapshot, right? So I want you right now to get ready to watch a video that is from the campaign again, and it's on the surge efforts. And so this is important information. You've already heard this sort of teased out by Vanessa when she was on a bit ago. So as a reminder, that code will be on the screen and you're going to be able to take that screenshot. So let me just say to the campaign running the gig here tonight, go ahead and play the video.
What's the Surge State Program? That's where you can sign up to physically go, or as we say, surge into battleground states to have important conversations on the doors in the final stretch before Election Day. Come join us on the ground by scanning the QR code on the screen now.
All right, all right. So we left it there for you to be able to take that picture. Here's the thing that a lot of people don't realize about how important the surge is. There are some states that are right around you right now, like Arizona, like Nevada, who are in play this year. And it is so important that we get some volunteers to surge in and help us in these efforts. This is so critical. And I was just actually talking to some people yesterday about maybe opening up a room at my house. So you might even be able to be a guest and stay in my guest room, but we're going to have to start opening our homes to these people who are coming in for the surge, and we need you here. So if you've thought about a great weekend away, thinking that it might be great to go in and knock some doors in another state, that's what this is about. So hopefully you got that QR code. If not, you can always go to the Harris campaign and find out more, but we hope that you'll get involved with that. Now, our next speaker is someone who I got so excited when I was reading all about her today. And I think you're going to love her. Her name is Ambassador Suzi LeVine. She has over 25 years of experience leading global organizations across government, corporate, and nonprofit. Now, she's a board director for Publicis Group, an advisory board member for Open Classrooms, and serves on the nonprofit boards of CareerWise USA, Research Improving People's Lives, which is RIPL, and the Thomas Jefferson Foundation. During the past decade, she developed landmark programming promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion, and catalyzed innovative workforce systems such as apprenticeship and paid family and medical leave. In the public sector, she served as a U.S. ambassador to Switzerland and Liechtenstein, say that 5 times on camera, and she was a commissioner for Washington State's Employment Security Department, and recently as the acting assistant secretary at USDOL's Employment and Training Administration. Wow, so sorry, Suzi, wowza. So everybody, please help me welcome Ambassador Suzi LeVine.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you to everybody who has tuned in. As she mentioned, I'm Ambassador Suzi LeVine. I'm honored to be with you all tonight, calling from up here on the West Coast in Seattle, as a matter of fact. My most important job right now, in addition to mom, which is my most important job, is citizen. And I, like you all, am a volunteer, and I'm actually spending most of my time making sure we still have a democracy. And I want to assure you, we are going to win. But the operative term there is we. And if somebody decides, you know what, I'm a little tired, I'm going to kick my feet up, I'm doing this other thing, I'm going to go do this, go do that, not give everything I've got, we're not going to win. Give you a basketball analogy on this. If this were a basketball game, we are in the 8th minute of the 4th quarter. We have the ball and it's tied. We're in better shape than the other team and have much more talented players. We also have an incredible group around us cheering us on. But that does not mean we can relax or slow down. On the contrary, we need to continue to do a full court press and use our time, our talent, our treasure, and our teams to make sure that we win. And it will likely be at the buzzer. This election is going to come down to probably 40 or 50,000 votes, which frankly is a bad night for Taylor Swift. And to give you a gauge on that, that's 0.02% of the likely vote total. So what does that mean? It means that it won't show up in the polls. Plus, polls don't vote, people do. So I want to thank you again for being on this call because it shows that you care. And I was just with President Obama on Friday down in Los Angeles, and he emphasized that we all need to dig deeper and give more than we ever have before. I know I am, and I am so appreciative that you are as well. So I am here very specifically to share one unusual way that you might not have thought about that you all can help. And that's to help turn out voters abroad. In 2020, only 14% of the 6.5 million voters abroad voted. But even then, it was enough to be the margin of victory for Arizona and Georgia for President Biden. In 2022, there were 10 House races that were decided by 1% or less, which is the margin of contribution for voters abroad. Now, while you, like me, may be comfortably ensconced on the West Coast, I bet dollars to donuts that you know someone who is studying, working, serving, or digital nomading abroad. And we need your help to reach those folks by sharing and encouraging them to go to www.votefromabroad.org to request their ballots. This site is a nonpartisan site designed by Democrats abroad, and it helps users step through the federal registration process, and it gives them access. We were just talking about voter protection. It gives them access to extra federal protections that they might not get from the states. They also will receive their ballot electronically instead of having to wait for an absentee ballot to be sent to them. There's also 24/7 customer service help from volunteers and legal advocacy if there are shenanigans with their ballots, like what we just saw in Montana last week, which horrifyingly, Kamala wasn't on the Montana overseas ballot. We also need lawyers in the various states to help voters abroad. So if you want to help with that, please email voterprotection@democratsabroad.org. I want to give you just an example. In 2020, there were 0 students studying abroad. This year, there are hundreds of thousands of them. So if you have a kid on a program or your neighbor's kid is on a program overseas, they should absolutely go to votefromabroad.org and register. Now, I also want to just give a little plug. If there's anybody up in Seattle who's looking for some ways to engage, personally, we are hosting a debate watch party that you'll find up on the Mobilize website. And then on October 6th, we're going to be hosting a Raid Our Cellar wine tasting for Kamala. You can find that on dine4democracy.com. Whole bunch of different events. And the one at our house is a wine tasting. So with that, thank you so much, West Coast women, for having me. And everybody, thank you for your help turning out that vote from abroad, because that is going to be the margin of victory this time. Thank you so much.
Holy cow, Suzi. What great information. Votefromabroad.org. Who knew? 14% is insane. So thank you for that. Thank you for getting us excited. Next time I'm there, we might just be having wine. So appreciate you being here. So as I mentioned, videos here and there peppered throughout, and it's video time again. And this is another video. This one, though, is not by the campaign. It's actually by someone named Elizabeth Meister. And it's all about the importance of voter registration and how we all have to do our best to get the vote out. So remember to grab that QR code at the end, and let's go ahead and watch the video.
Y'all, there's never been a better moment for you to roll your sleeves up with us and do something. We've got so few days to reach out to every single voter, make sure they know Vice President Kamala Harris and Governor Walz's optimistic and patriotic vision for the future, and share what's at stake this year. Talk to voters on our weekly Women for Harris-Walz phone banks, host for Harris-Walz, and make calls with people you know at a house party, and join us to share key messaging with your communities and more. Scan the QR code on the screen to get to go.kamalaharris.com. Again, it's go.kamalaharris.com. Type in your zip code and find an event near you or virtual.
Well, it looks like we got that one cutting off a little quickly, but you can see that QR code, and we definitely want you to think about having those house parties, think about getting involved. So our next speaker is someone that I've actually admired for years, and I had a chance to meet her several years ago when I was working on a campaign. Her name is Tamika Wooten, and she's been a practicing attorney for 34 years and has dedicated her practice to seeking justice in all three areas of the criminal justice system, where she has led as a prosecutor, fought as a defense attorney, and dispensed justice as a judge. She has proudly dedicated her life to protecting children and families in Maricopa County, Arizona, which is the fourth largest county in the nation. While working for the city of Glendale, she was appointed as the chief city prosecutor and coordinated with the presiding judge to develop an award-winning domestic violence program. In addition to Tamika's courtroom experience as an advocate of justice, she expanded her passion for justice by serving as a judge throughout Maricopa County, Arizona. With nearly 3 decades of experience within the Maricopa County criminal justice system, she is currently running for county attorney. So please help me welcome someone that I admire, Tamika Wooten.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to join and be a part of the West Coast Women for Harris. And what I want to remind everyone is that it is critically important that we remember to vote down ballot. As you all know, our future president, Kamala Harris, started off as a district attorney. Then she worked her way up to a state attorney general for California, and then a state senator, vice president, and now hopefully president in a couple of days. So in looking at our local ballots, again, I ask that you start from the bottom, because it is the bottom of the ballot that affects us daily. We have very important races such as school board. The school board affects who's going to vote on what curriculum our children learn in school. We have the county recorder. The county recorder will make sure that our elections are fair and that the votes are properly counted. We have the treasurer, who will make sure that all of the money is properly allocated. County assessor in your various jurisdictions, who will make sure that taxes are properly allocated, again, and then goes to the Board of Supervisors, which then again goes to our schools, so that we can make sure that we have great public schools for our children. Again, it is critically important that we start. As I mentioned, our soon-to-be president started at the district attorney level, which is the equivalent of the county attorney race, which I'm running in. And again, school board, the local jurisdiction as far as being a judge on the justice of the peace, justice of the peace. All of those are important roles that affect our democracy. So what I encourage each of you to do is, in this race, make sure again that you start from the bottom and work our way up. And we know we're all going to vote for president to be Kamala Harris. But again, let's start with those lower votes. And the next time, I encourage you in the next voting cycle to get in there and not only talk about what the change we want to do, but let's get together, run for a local office, and together we will protect and preserve our democracy. Thank you very much.
Go get them, Tamika. We are so proud of you here, and we're all behind you.
Thank you.
So how great is Tamika? I told you, she is so fantastic, and she is so loved in our state. Now, you heard her talking about bottom-up voting, and I do want to say a little something about this, because I think that if you've been in the political world for any amount of time, you've probably seen these really tight races that happen in some of these state races. And so we might have a state that turns blue, but somehow I should say our, government votes go blue, but then you have your state houses that are somehow still red. And so when you hear people talking about bottom-up voting, it is all about making sure that you're taking care of those people and voting for those people and starting your ballot at the bottom, because we all know who you're going to start with, right? You're going to start with the president. But so many of these races get overlooked because people are not filling out the entire ballot. And it is so critical that we do that. So I think Tamika is great. I am expecting her to win, and I'm just so grateful she was here. So let's transition here. We are all here because of the power of women, and we're privileged to have one of the strongest voices in women's empowerment, Gloria Feldt. She's the authoritative voice on women's leadership, power, intention, and accelerating solutions for diversity and gender parity. Gloria is the former president and CEO of the world's largest reproductive health and advocacy organization, Planned Parenthood Federation of America. She was named by Vanity Fair as one of America's top 200 women leaders, legends, and trailblazers. Glamour's Woman of the Year, Women Economic Forum Circle of Light Award, Martin Luther King's Living the Dream Award, and she received the 40 over 40 from Forbes. Let's help welcome this badass trailblazing woman, Gloria Feldt.
Am I unmuted? Am I unmuted? Yes. Thank you so much, Jen. Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here. And I have to tell you, it is so incredibly exciting to see every single night there's another something for Kamala. There's another another group, and so many of them have been groups of women, and it just it's super important. So I kind of made up Kamala says, when we fight, we win. So I want to sort of pivot that for a minute to say, when we work, we win. When we work, we win. That's really what it takes. So I made up sort of an acronym, and so W, women, O, own, R, real. And now you have to, use your mind a little bit here for this. Clout, okay? Women own real clout. And we have to really remember that this is a time when we have this opportunity. We have not had this opportunity. I have to tell you, I honestly thought in the years that I have been working for gender equality and for women's rights and for, hoping and working for women in all kinds of different levels of leadership, I actually imagined that the first woman president would be a conservative Republican. Because so often in politics, it's the unlikely thing that happens. I don't think any of us could have predicted this incredible opportunity that we have right now to set the country back on a path toward true democracy, a path toward true community to people realizing, it's not just about you. It's not just about me. It's about us. It's about us all together and us as a community. And it's about our families. And I just have to take a minute and also say hi to my family, because I think my family might be making up about half of the audience tonight. They've been texting each other about this, and that's very cool. It's wonderful to see so many different people who haven't been involved in politics getting involved. And that is what it takes. I was talking with a friend of our family who up until a few years ago had never even been registered to vote. And my husband had been browbeating him that he had to register to vote and how important it was to vote. And he was one of those people who said, it's not going to matter if I vote. I don't know anything about politics. I don't know enough to vote. I don't like any of these people. Have you heard this? Has anybody heard this? Anybody heard people say that kind of stuff? I mean, in my life, I would never imagine not voting personally, but that's just how I was brought up and always felt the responsibility to vote. But anyway, this friend of ours, was absolutely certain that his vote would not matter. He called me yesterday and he said, you know, I am hearing Alex's voice in my ears right now. And I just called to tell you that I am registered to vote and I am going to vote for Kamala Harris. So that is the thing that we all can do. We all can influence somebody else. We all can influence somebody else. You know, I mean, ads are important. Giving money is important. I know we're all doing that. But the single most important thing we all can do is reach out individually to people that we know and people that we don't know, and knock on doors and write those postcards and make those calls. So it truly does make a difference. You just don't always know the difference that you're making when you make those personal connections. But I know we've all heard those stories, and as Nelson Mandela taught us, it always seems impossible until it happens. So we are going to make it happen. We are totally going to make it happen. I am beyond thrilled and excited. It's wonderful that so many people have joined this call, that so many people have joined all the other calls, but we have to take the excitement of these calls and do the work. We have to do the work. Women own real clout when we do the work. So is everybody with me? Everybody with me? We're going to use our clout. We're going to, do I have my, oh, you just can't see it. I have my Kamala button on. I have my Kamala button. I don't have my cat Kamala hat on right now, but that's another one of my favorites. We can also buy merch, right? We can contribute in so many ways. We can, I have one of my leadership power tools is wear the shirt. So like, what do you put on your shirt that you want everybody to see that expresses what you believe? We can all wear shirts. We can all wear shirts that talk about Kamala. I just know that with the energy that is in this Zoom room, with the energy that is in all of the other rooms that I've been in, we are going to make it happen. We are going to make it happen with our work, because when we work, we win. And I think that Lewis Black is going to be coming on soon after me. And I just want to tell you that he's possibly one of my all-time favorite comedians. So I can't wait to see him. And I just want to thank you all for having me, giving me the chance to express my excitement and to encourage everybody to do what we can. We can talk, we can use our voice, we can reach out to people, we can walk and knock doors, we can make phone calls, we can do postcards. We can also understand that it's not going to be over when it's over. And we're going to have to keep working even after this election. And I want to just second the point that it's important to vote up and down the ballot. And Jen, that I was so glad that you said that, because you're absolutely right. It matters who is at every single level of government. The only antidote to when democracy isn't working for us is more democracy. So that's what we can do. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Gloria. Oh my gosh, you are a rock star. And I had so much fun running through your website today. So thank you for being here. So appreciated. Now, she gave you the teaser, everybody, about who our next guest is. And I have to tell you, I had a phone call with him yesterday, and I got off the phone laughing hysterically because the whole thing was so exactly like you would have expected from watching him on TV. Our next guest is Lewis Black. He uses his trademark style of comedic yelling and animated finger pointing and all of that to skewer anything and anyone that gets under his skin. His comedic brilliance lies in his ability to make people laugh at the absurdities of life, with topics that include both current events and social media and politics and anything else that exposes the hypocrisy and madness that he sees in the world. So buckle up, y'all, because Lewis Black is pissed off. He is angry about what's going on in our country right now. While he wanted to be here with us live. His tour schedule prevented that. So what he did was he sent me a video last night around midnight, and we are going to share it with all of you. This is a custom video that he did just for you, and I hope you enjoy the message from one of the most famous comedians in history, Lewis Black. Let's go ahead and play the video.
Hello there, West Coast Women for Kamala. It's Lewis Black here. You know, people say that life on the road is just romantic and wonderful. Well, here I am in a parking lot at a Hampton Inn in Portland, Maine. Oh, things don't get better than that, do they? I really wish I could be with you this evening, but I have to stand out here on the tarmac talking to you about what? The incredible work you're doing. And I mean that. Somebody's got to do it. And the fact that you can continue to do this in light of the fact that you're dealing with people who are clinically insane. They are insane. The other side is insane. They have made shit up. They've made shit up. They're making stuff up, okay? And then you have to counter what they've made up, and then it's exhausting, and it just gets tougher and tougher, and I don't know how you do it. And it's one thing that they're trying to go back to, 1956, and if they do want to go back to 1956, let me tell you that everything that they do should be just exactly as it was in 1956, all right? They should have to watch black and white TVs. They should only get 3 channels. And they should have to eat Mapo, okay? And there's a reference you'll never hear from any other comic. Look, I know it's tough. I have a tip for you in terms of dealing with the fact that people always say, well, Donald Trump, he was a really great businessman. No, he wasn't a great businessman. How do we know this? He bankrupted a casino. I'm going to repeat that. He bankrupted a casino. You have to repeat this to them a few times because they don't hear anymore. He bankrupted a casino. No one in the history of time, no one in the history of the universe has bankrupted a casino. And if there was someone who did bankrupt a casino, you know what? They never ran for president. You can't bankrupt a casino. The only way you could bankrupt a casino is if you had the National Guard or a few soldiers out there shooting the gamblers trying to get in. It's that simple. And he didn't do that, but who knows what he'll do when he's president. So thank you. Thank you for doing what you're doing. And once again, I wish I could be there with you. But I like standing out here kind of getting frostbite as fall comes to Portland, Maine.
How much do you all love him? Oh my gosh, I love that man. And I also, like Gloria said, have my family in the audience. My aunt and my best friend are in the audience, and he's our favorite. So I hope you enjoyed that as much as we all did. Now, I know you're going to love our next speaker. We have our Arizona representative, Greg Stanton, here with us tonight. We are so grateful because we know that you were working tonight, and taking any time at all to be with us is really something that we treasure so much. So thanks for that as you're coming in. But let me tell you a little bit about Greg. Throughout his career, Greg's worked with so many incredible minds to help move this country forward. He's worked tirelessly to deliver results for Arizona families. Serving as the Phoenix mayor from 2012 to 2018, he focused on building an economy rooted in innovation and trade. Under his leadership, Phoenix created thousands of quality jobs and recently saw the highest wage growth in the nation. Greg has earned a reputation for working across the aisle to get things done. His biggest accomplishments in Phoenix were passed with bipartisan support, including the city's investment in the biosciences and higher education, support for small businesses, and national recognition for leadership on LGBTQ equality. In 2015, Stanton won re-election and successfully led one of the most ambitious transportation initiatives in the country, a bipartisan voter-backed plan to extend Phoenix's light rail system. And he expanded bus service and improved thousands of miles of roadways over the next 35 years. In addition to that, the Phoenix City Council just voted to name the light rail station after him. Now, during his time in Congress, Mr. Stanton focused on planning for the state's water future, investing in public transportation and infrastructure, building Arizona's economy of the future, and lowering costs for working families. So he is busy. He's working for us. He is a member of the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee and the Foreign Affairs Committee, and he's fighting for every one of you every day. So please help us welcome U.S. Representative Greg Stanton.
All right. Thanks, Jen, for that kind introduction. That was awesome. Thank you for hosting this. You're doing a wonderful job. What a great video by Lewis Black. That was very funny. However, my ultimate favorite, Gloria Feldt, I don't know if she's still on or not, when they make the Mount Rushmore of the most impactful Arizonans of all time, Gloria Feldt will be on that mountain. She was the head of Planned Parenthood here in Arizona before she went on to lead that wonderful organization nationally. And now she's doing so much for empowerment of women, building up their careers, demanding what they deserve in the workplace, but especially on the issue of pay and so much more. So I just love Gloria Feldt. So if you're still watching, Gloria, thank you for so much. I think I'm on here because I am a, let's see, FOK, friend of Kamala. I have actually known the vice president for almost 20 years. When I was a city councilman and she was the DA, recently elected DA in the San Francisco area, we were both selected for a leadership development program through the Aspen Institute. And we got to know each other. I got to see her in action at a much earlier point in her career. And we know she's awesome now, but she was awesome then. You could tell she had an incredibly bright future ahead of her. We got to travel to China and India as part of a group of, I guess, up and coming political leaders. That was awesome. Here's why. Of course, she is of Indian American descent. And the people of India pay really close attention to American politics. And so even though she was relatively early in her political career, she was very well known all over India. So wherever we went, there was like paparazzi everywhere following her around. I think they were already planning to make a Bollywood movie about her life or something. And that was at a very early point. So for me, it's been such a pleasure to see her grow professionally, be such an impactful attorney general and senator, and then of course, vice president. And, you know, for me, I was the earliest of the Democrats in Arizona where I represent. I was the first one to endorse President Joe Biden back in 2020, early on in that campaign. And I had to make the tough decision to think that maybe President Biden wasn't the right leader to move us forward in this election. And that was not an easy time, an easy decision. And Joe Biden did such an amazing thing. He stepped away. He made the tough but courageous and selfless decision to not run again, but immediately said the vice president was the right person for the job. And man, was he right? I mean, the ability that Kamala Harris had to get her support of the Democratic Party writ large to rally around her in such a short period of time was an amazing accomplishment. And then, of course, to see her thrive on this campaign. This is a very difficult campaign, and they're coming at her with slings and arrows, and to see her thrive on the campaign. And of course, I was just so happy and proud of her for what she did on debate night. I mean, she came correct, she came prepared, she came with a good strategy, she executed on all fronts, and there is no doubt that she dominated that debate, and that has helped to propel her to where she is. And just today, this argument by the other side that somehow she's not coming with detailed plans. Did you see her speech on her economic policy? She came with the receipts, if you will. She came with the details, and I love it. A tax reduction for every middle-class family in the form of the child tax credit. That is a solid plan. We implemented that during the COVID period, and child poverty was reduced by 50% for that period of time. She's going to reinstitute and even grow that as a tax policy. She realizes that housing is at the very forefront of voters' minds, particularly young voters that are concerned about whether or not they're going to be able to afford a home. She came up with a smart tax policy that I support, offering home builders for starter homes a tax credit to get them to kickstart the building of new homes. That's in addition to her plan to help with down payment assistance for those first-time home buyers. And she wants to keep up the fight to reduce pharmaceutical drug prices. the benefits that we were able to pass in the Inflation Reduction Act, which benefit people on the Medicare system, which is wonderful that we're reducing drug prices as we are. But all Americans should have that benefit. And that is a part of her economic plan, including a reduction in taxes for small businesses when they hire people or invest in equipment. It is a forward-thinking, pro-capitalist policy, whereas her opponent wants to do everything through tariffs, which is a direct tax increase on the middle class throughout America. And I just bring that up because she just came forward that today, a very substantive economic policy for the future of America. And I could not be more proud of her. She's coming to my state on Friday to give a very important speech at the border to talk about border and immigration policy. The other side thinks we're going to hammer her with it. I think she's going to give a strong, passionate speech that is going to change the dynamic on that most important issue. And I should say in Arizona that I represent, we are one of the most important battleground states in the country. We are on a razor's edge. Arizona could easily, I hate to say it, but I got to be honest, could easily have Donald Trump as the winner of our election, and it could easily have the vice president as a winner of our election. It is in the balance who wins Arizona, one of the most important battleground seats. We're also trying to win an important Senate seat for my party. I know it's a bipartisan audience, but for my party, the Democratic Party, and we've got some very important House of Representative seats that are up for grabs there as well. And we have one of the most important initiatives on the ballot this year in Arizona, which we restore the constitutional right to an abortion for people of our state. That right that had been in place for almost 50 years. It was stare decisis, and the Supreme Court ripped it away with the Dobbs decision. When Kamala Harris is in the White House and we have a pro-abortion rights majority in the House and the Senate, we can do this nationally. But in the meantime, we've got to do it state by state. That initiative, which is going to restore Roe as the law, at least in Arizona, it's going to be supported by 75% or more of the people, women and men, coming together to restore that important constitutional right. Because everyone on this call knows that abortion rights are not just for women, they're for everyone. When we advance and restore constitutional rights, our entire country advances. We've seen that with the civil rights movement. Civil rights movement wasn't just for people that needed the immediate protection of those laws, although that was critically important. But when we advance civil rights, it advances for everyone. It benefits everyone in the country, and we're going to see that in the state of Arizona. And what a warrior we have seen the vice president be on the issue of restoring that critically important right to Americans across the country. So look, I mean, Gloria said it all. In a state like Arizona, going out and knocking on doors, making those phone calls, donating whatever you can donate, that's not a nice thing to have. It's a must-have. It's the way we are going to win this race. The other side's always going to have bigger money and super PACs and all that. What we have is people power, but we can only utilize that people power if people give us their precious time. That is way more important than money, is your precious time. So my polite request is, if you are in an area where the vice president's for sure going to win, think about volunteering to make phone calls from your living room, wherever you happen to live, in California or anywhere else. Think about making calls into voters in a state like Arizona, where it's in the balance and it could make all the difference in this most important election as we make history in electing this incredible person, Kamala Harris, and of course make history as electing the first female president in American history. I can't wait as a member of Congress to work with President Kamala Harris.
Yes. Thank you, Greg Stanton. We appreciate your time so much. And yes, yes, yes to all the things. All right. So let's keep moving forward here. You may not know it, but you've probably enjoyed some of our next guests' work. Our next guest is Karin Schall. She's known as Hell's Kitchen sidewalk chalk artist. She's on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Threads, Twitter. They are constantly awash in the provocative work of Karin Schall. She has worked for an arts organization in New York City for over 25 years. When she's not planning events or fundraising, she's out in the streets with Rise and Resist, a nonviolent activist group making good trouble. She is the president of the board for A is for Org, a nonprofit. I didn't say that right. A is for .org, a nonprofit advancing reproductive rights and destigmatizing abortion care. She's also on the board of projects with CARE and on the advisory board of the 52nd Street Project. She's a proud resident of Hell's Kitchen, and she never leaves home without a piece of chalk in her pocket. Karin is truly someone who defines herself as citizen as artist, with whatever bit of fancy and outrage or inspiration comes her way. She is on Threads, on Twitter, on all of these platforms with a bio that says, "Angry NYC gal, chalking is her thing, abortion for all, don't be racist, ban guns, save democracy and the planet, rise and resist." Get on board. She's also going to be joined by Sam Hamilton from Chalk Riot, who's also out there every day contributing to chalktivism to help Kamala Harris win. So let's give both Karin Schall and Sam Hamilton a big warm welcome, and take it away, ladies.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Can you hear me? We were having technical difficulties earlier. Great. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you, Jen. And thank you for inviting me back to West Coast Women for Kamala. I'm so happy to be coming to you tonight from the East Coast. When Jen asked me to do the first one, it was with a kick-ass group of women, and I was more than a little starstruck, and I continue to be starstruck tonight. Holy shit. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the person in New York City who chalks a lot. So people now see me and say, "Hey, aren't you the chalk lady?" A term which I am proudly embracing. And they are also called me a chalktivist. Slide 1, please. I am super excited tonight that Sam Hamilton from the DC-based Chalk Riot is joining me tonight. I first encountered Chalk Riot and their work outside of the Supreme Court for one of the gazillion abortion rights cases. They had set up a huge communal box of chalk, and people were writing the most beautiful messages and creating gorgeous art. And although we didn't connect in real life that day, we started following each other, which led to a conversation about teaming up as we were heading into this election. Next slide, please. So that was outside of the Supreme Court. Name the case, who knows? I've been chalking as a form of activism since 2020. When I first started chalking with Rise and Resist, which Jen alluded to, there were a group of passionate, smart, creative activists, many who came up from the ACT UP movement. I continue to learn from them every single day. And as Jen said, they are making good trouble on a weekly, if not daily basis. Next slide, please. So in addition to reproductive rights and abortion, I'm also passionate about gun control. Slide, please. And of course, saving democracy. Slide, please. So about a month ago, Sam and Chelsea from Chalk Riot and I were talking, and we wanted to team up together to do a nationwide Chalk the Vote plan to encourage folks to chalk in their communities around the country. So Sam, can you talk a little bit about Chalk the Vote and what our plan is for the next 41 days?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. My name is Sam Hamilton, and I am a chalk artist and the director of communications at Chalk Riot, based in Washington, D.C. We are an all-women and non-binary owned and operated chalk production group and mural production group. And we're currently celebrating our 11th year in business, 6 of which we were out on the West Coast in California. A lot of you may be wondering right now, why chalk? And well, it's not just nostalgic and beautiful, it's extremely accessible, it's fast to use, and the roots of Chalk the Vote actually come from a long radical history of the use in chalk in the United States. The first of which was the use of chalk in the right to vote by the suffragettes. You would often see images of the suffragettes handing each other sticks of chalk while they were being arrested to continue the message and show solidarity with others who are protesting. And we also see the use of chalk in New York City during the AIDS epidemic with artists like Andy Warhol and especially Keith Haring. And that history has really inspired us to start Chalk the Vote. And when it comes to Chalk the Vote, there is no need for artistic ability here. It just takes 5 seconds and a message. You can go out anywhere in your own neighborhood. You can talk to your neighbors and your friends without actually having to start a conversation. You can just write any message you'd like. The last few weeks, we've been chalking particularly for reproductive rights, climate protections, and gun violence prevention. And these next few weeks, we're going to be counting down to the election in chalk. And like I said, no artistic ability is needed here. It can take 3 seconds on the go on your commute to work, or if you want to spend 3 hours on a masterpiece, that is also more than okay.
Sam, can we do the next slide? This was the prompt from a week ago. This was the reproductive rights. So you sign up at Chalk the Vote and you'll get a list of prompts for each day. We were doing different messages and then we were posting photos. So that was I think week 3, and we've got
absolutely,
and we've got more to go. So thank you, Sam. There's a whole section on the Chalk Riot website of great chalking tips. And in addition, I thought I would share my thoughts. So maybe no slide right now, just me being big on a screen. Or not. Keep the slides up. Sure. So I, as you can see, am a white woman of privilege, of a certain age that comes with privilege. And I know that that's not for everybody. But before you chalk, I really highly encourage you to know your local vandalism laws, know what's private versus public property, know that not what you chalk, everyone is going to like what you chalk, so be prepared for confrontation, but as well as be prepared for positive feedback. I am loving having conversations with people as I chalk these days. I never chalk while wearing headphones, unlike tonight, and I'm always aware of my surroundings. It really, really helps to write out your message in advance, both for spelling, which seems to be my problem, and spacing. Know that direct sunlight is not your friend when you're taking photos of your chalking. My favorite chalk is Dixon Railroad chalk. They come in boxes of 72, and I order it from Webstaurant online store. Little fun fact, I recently learned that Webstaurant online store is owned by the brother of actor Jonathan Groff. Crayola sidewalk chalk is also great. I always have flushable wipes or a bandana in my bag because chalk is, well, chalk. Believe it or not, some sidewalks are better than others. And there are other surfaces such as building sheds or Jersey barriers. We love the fact that the neighbors of J.D. Vance are chalking the Jersey barriers outside of his home. Next slide, please. Or next one. There you go. There they are chalking outside of his home. So with 41 days to go, we encourage you to go chalk yourself. There's so much messaging that we can put out there. Make it local or global. Chalk the messages that are important to you. Slide, please. So we encourage you to register at Chalk Riot. Get yourself some chalk, go chalk, and post and share with us, please. Last slide, please. There's a QR code there. We can't wait to see what you chalk over these next 41 days, not to mention all of the celebratory chalking that's going to take place on November 6th. So let's do this together. It'll be fun, and we'll see you out on the sidewalks.
Yay. Thank you, Karin. We just love you. And for all of you watching, you've got to be checking out the links that are in the chat because you can follow all of these people. Karin is so much fun every day putting out all of these images. I mean, it is just delicious. So you can also consider doing your own chalking in your own community, finding a way to do this, even if it's out walking your dog, putting some chalk on the concrete. So thank you, Karin, and thank you to Sam as well for being here. We are so grateful. So now on to our next guest speaker. Now we're so excited to have her back. Amy Siskind is the next speaker that we have. And she is absolutely what a certain convicted felon would call a nasty woman. She's an activist, feminist, and author, along with being a defender of democracy. Her activism focuses on women's rights, and she's an advocate for the LGBTQ community. Now, Amy is best known as the author of The Weekly List and as president of The New Agenda, a nonprofit dedicated to the advancement of women. In March of 2018, she compiled the first year of weekly lists and published them as a list, a week-by-week reckoning of Trump's first year. In June of 2018, Siskind started the Weekly List podcast. In July of 2017, the United States Library of Congress began archiving her weekly reports. In 2021, she donated her papers and blogs to the Annenberg Library. So help us welcome this absolute rock star who we all love here, the incredible Amy Siskind.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And for you Fever fans, tough night tonight, but some time to rest until next April. So, hi, everyone. I just want to say we are 41 days away from this election, and it is all hands on deck. I feel like we're somewhere in between 2016, where we were kind of like just on cruise control, and 2020, where we were like crazed and ready to go. And we need to get back a little bit more of the 2020. I feel like everyone is just a little bit too comfortable right now. For all intents and purposes, this race is tied. There are 7 states that are going to determine the outcome of the presidential election. The good news is we as activists know how to do this. We did this in 2018, 2020, and 2022. But we need everyone now to activate, to mobilize, to get involved. I have been mobilizing in Pennsylvania. I know some of you on the West Coast have flown out and knocked doors with us. If you are interested in coming out to Pennsylvania, you can either find on my Facebook page or email pacanvas2024@gmail.com. And I'm going to send out a weekly list of ways to either knock doors or phone bank in Pennsylvania. But you don't need to come all the way out east. There's other swing states that are even closer for you. There's Wisconsin, Michigan, Nevada, which is very close, Arizona, which is also close, North Carolina, and Georgia. But I need to explain to you all the importance of door knocking and how doing it at this point is our real competitive advantage, because we have a ground game. The Trump team does not. They're relying on Elon Musk and Turning Point USA. The most effective form of turning out the vote is knocking on doors. And it's something we're really good at and really organized with. So if you can find a weekend or a week, I know some people have written to me from California, they're coming to Pennsylvania for a week. Please find a way to go knock doors. If you can't do that, other activism that you can do. You can phone bank in these states. All of these states, PA Democrats, Michigan Democrats, you can go to any of their websites and find activities to do, from postcarding to texting to phone banking to again, knocking on doors or canvassing. I can't stress enough that these final 41 days, we are tied. We need to do everything we can to turn out the vote. I want to also tell you all, since we spoke last about a month ago, I've been to Pennsylvania several times knocking on doors, and this is a race unlike any other since the time I've been knocking doors the first time Hillary ran in 2008. There are a ton of undecided voters. I don't care what the polls say, undecided voters are not picking up the phone. There are a ton of people that just don't know Harris. They know Trump and they have an opinion on him. They may or may not vote for him, but then there's a lot of people that don't like him, but just don't know her. And that's why your ability to go out and knock doors or phone bank can have a real impact on how this race turns out. I've been knocking doors 3 times. Almost all of the people I knocked on were independents or Republicans. Yes, we are in the persuasion stage. And again, this is an unusual year. You had states like North Carolina where 1 in 4 Republicans voted for Haley, Pennsylvania, 1 in 6. All of those voters can be our voters. All of the independents can be our voters. They need information. They need you to knock on their door in Arizona and say, I drove from California and I am a big fan of Harris, and here is why. The biggest thing you can do by being on these phone calls or by knocking on the door is being the face for the campaign. And the thing that you can do, in addition to explaining why you're so passionate about her, is to listen, to hear their concerns. People want to be heard, and you can influence turnout and a lot of these undecided voters. I am telling you folks firsthand, I have never seen anything like it. You know, we live in a bubble here, those of us in California and New York who are super involved in politics, and especially you in California who know Harris. A lot of people in the middle of the country do not know her. And so we really can have some value added with these undecided voters. I want to also say there are other ways of helping. I'm going to be putting up baskets on my Facebook page to help with Senate races, to help us keep the Senate blue, and House races so we can flip the House. There are a lot of close races. This is all coming down to mobilizing the vote at the end, which again, we are very, very good at. There are other ways to help. You can, this is a very clever idea that I admire the chalk writing, but another thing you can do is have a Post-its in your bag. And every time you go into a public restroom for women, stick one up that says, no one knows who you vote for in private, or some version of that. There are still a lot of women in this country, especially Republican women, who voted for Haley, who basically do what their husband tells them to. Stick up those sticky notes when you go to a restaurant, wherever you go that's in a public place. Other things you can do, you can have your friends over for a couple of bottles of wine and collective texting or phone banking. You can do that for after you drop the kids off at school or on Saturday morning over coffee. You can now, with only 41 days left, activate your own networks by texting and emailing all of your friends, reminding them about the election. And finally, if you have a college kid or you know of college kids that are either in a swing state or in states where we have potential to win Senate seats like Texas and Florida or Montana or Ohio, make sure they register to vote where their vote can have the most impact. There is so much we need to do, but we all need to get more of a sense of real, like, what is at stake here, folks? We need to get, activated, mobilized, and get our networks mobilized. We cannot, even though we've had joy with Harris, and that's a great message, we can't be complacent. We are tied. The next 41 days will determine the future of our country. So please get engaged and get involved. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amy. You are the best, and we appreciate you. We know it's late back there, and you just came from a game and all the things. So grateful to have you here. So everybody, next we have the West Coast Women for Kamala founder, Barbra Schwartz, my partner, and she's going to be followed directly by a co-organizer, Stephanie Rimmer, who is also working with us. So both of these women have spent years in service to their communities, working tirelessly for Democrats up and down the ballot, and they've run for campaigns, organized large campaigns, they've organized large groups, and found their true calling in service to their communities. So let me first tell you just a little bit about Barbra. Barbra, back in 2019, did I just say that? Back in 2020, faced with the pandemic and the threat of all of Trump's barbaric policies, she knew that it was time for her to roll up her sleeves and put her experience to work. And so she helped grow an online grassroots group and launched a weekly phone bank for Biden and Senator Kelly. And it ended up gaining a lot of attention from candidates and officials. So now, as we find ourselves in 2024 facing another crucial election, Barbra is feeling the same fear of dealing with another 4 years of number 45. And so she is leading the Pantsuit Nation Arizona group. She's determined to work with all of us to elect the strongest candidates up and down the ballot. So you're going to meet Barbra, but right after Barbra, in fact, they're going to come up together, but I know Barbara's speaking first. You're going to be able to meet Stephanie Rimmer. Stephanie is a 2016 Phoenix Chamber Athena Award nominee for public service. She currently serves on the City of Phoenix Business and Workforce Development Board. She was appointed by our mayor, Kate Gallego. Stephanie has also run for office 3 times and has experience lobbying on Capitol Hill and in the Arizona legislature. She got her start in politics working on local campaigns as a teen in her home state of Washington, which I love. So Please help me welcome Barbara Schwartz and Stephanie Rimmer to the stage.
Thank you, Jen. Everyone has been so great tonight. So many ways to volunteer. I love it. I want to take a quick minute to thank everyone who volunteered for our team for hours and hours to help us tonight, including our host and all of our fabulous guest speakers. I won't list everyone by name, but you know who you are. Most of all, I want to thank each of you for showing up tonight. I know some of you are probably getting zoomed out. For the next 5 weeks, we hope to get all of us off our computers, off our chairs, and into our communities, canvassing or on the phones, meeting and talking to people in our own backyards. For those of you who can do more, battleground states are looking for your help. The Harris Campaign's Surge program may be a good fit for you. For those who like to stay home, host a house party. The first vice presidential debate is coming up on October 1st. If you can't organize a party before then, that's okay, because the vice president's birthday is on October 20th. It's a great time to host a house party and bring together voters in your neighborhood to support the campaign on Kamala Harris's birthday. And if you want to do something really important, you can volunteer to help with voter protection. There are many opportunities to help get out the vote. And there's a new website to help you review all these opportunities. If you're able to, you can take a look right now at go.kamalaharris.com. That's the new volunteer Kamala Harris for President website, go.kamalaharris.com. If it doesn't detect your location when you open it up, you can enter your zip code and you'll see lots of great volunteer opportunities in your area. Last but not least, stay in touch with us at West Coast Women for Kamala. We'll be hosting phone banks, sharing priority volunteer needs from the campaign, and much more. To do this, we have our Facebook page, but now we also have a Discord server with the campaign to make communicating easier. Stephanie, take it away.
Well, first, let's be sure that we share the link to the Facebook page group for West Coast Women for Kamala. And I think that's in the chat. Facebook is a great way to get engaged with us, where you can check in regularly for priority needs of the Harris campaign and sign up to phone bank with West Coast Women for Kamala. But for those of you who want to further engage, we have created a server on Discord where we are able to chat daily, share content and events, and where we will provide daily links to mobilize events and volunteer opportunities on the West Coast. You can find that also in your chat. And don't forget the REACH training following tonight's Zoom. If you can, stay online for REACH training with the Democratic National Committee from 7:30 to 8 p.m. For those who cannot stay online, we will share other opportunities via Discord and Facebook. Also, for anyone who's not comfortable with apps or needs to communicate with us directly, you may email us at info@westcoastwomenforkamala.com. And I think that's everything.
I think we got it.
Yay, my two partners. Thank you for what you've done. You guys have saved the day on numerous occasions. So I am personally so grateful for you both. All right, everybody. So we've got one more video for you. Earlier, I'd said it was going to be the bottoms up video. It was not. So I am being corrected now. It's on its way. This is about bottom up voting, and I'm going to hand it back to the campaign. Go ahead and play the video.
Hi, I'm Tim Stringham, and I'm running for Maricopa County Recorder. On October 9th, you're going to get mailed your ballot, and I encourage you to start at the bottom of your ballot and work your way up. Down ballot candidates might get less attention, but we're the people who are going to run your schools, repair your roads, and police our communities. And in my case, the county reporter is going to run our elections. So again, when you get your ballot, make sure you focus on those local races and don't quit voting. When we start at the bottom, we get to the top.
All right. So like we always say, get that grab with that QR code. I will remind you all that even though you saw that video talking about Arizona and it was an Arizona candidate, that's just because we live here and we can grab these people and get the information we need. But this is for wherever you live. This is important for every state. This is not just Arizona. This is for everyone. And your ballots are on their way to you soon. And we don't want all of these candidates who put so much work in, who are at the lower part of the ballot, to go unseen, uncared for, unvoted for. So it's important that you get that message out to the people that you love and you think about it when you are starting your own ballot. Now, we are getting to the end of this thing here, and we have been saving our East Coast icon for last. To show how committed she is to the cause, she has stayed up late for us, and we are so thrilled to have her. Jo Carducci, or as you may know her as JoJo from Jerz on social media, is a massive political influencer who has millions and millions of followers all over the globe. Jo's a mom living in Jersey suburbs who, in the wake of 2016, was looking for an outlet to share her frustrations and fears about Donald Trump. So she joined Twitter, or X, or, X, but whatever, and she hasn't looked back since. So what was once a sounding board to vent with like-minded people has turned into a full-time commitment to standing up for democracy and against tyranny in her signature snark and sass. You can find her on all the socials at JoJo from Jerz, and that's Jerz with a Z, on her Are You Effing Kidding Me podcast, and on Substack with her newsletter of the same name. If you look at her social media profiles, you'll see that she's from New Jersey. She's a news junkie. She's Lebanese, a hothead, a mom, a geek, and she's been blocked by Chachi, who we all know has turned into a rabid Trump supporter. So R.I.P. Chachi, it was good while it lasted. So please help me welcome to this stage, this rock star firebrand, JoJo from Jerz.
Oh my goodness, that was the most incredible introduction I've ever had, I think, in my life. I want to just take you around with me everywhere I go. Thank you for that. That was incredible. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be here. Yeah, I am Jo Carducci. I do tweet at JoJo from Jerz. And Jen, you said it best. Like I really was activated in 2016. I'm a mom and we all have our whys, and so when I put my kids to bed on election night and they vote with me, they always vote with me. I tucked them in and I said, tomorrow morning you'll wake up to the news that we've just elected our first, female president-elect in our history. And I told them this thing that right would prevail, right? So this is what we moms tell our kids, that right will triumph over wrong, and that evil will be, squashed down by goodness. And when they woke up in the morning, my son woke up first. He found me in the bathroom crying, and he knew instantly. He was 7. He knew instantly that something had gone wrong. And the first question he asked me, the only question he asked me in that moment, was, "How did this happen? You said the bad guy wouldn't win." And I did not have an answer for my son. I didn't have an answer for my son in that moment. And as a mom, that's what you want. You want to be able to give them answers because we're supposed to be guiding them and preparing them. And I didn't. And so I made a pact with myself in that moment that I was going to spend the rest of my life righting that wrong and fighting for our country, for our values, for our identity, for who we were and who we would aspire to be, but for the country I was going to be leaving my kids, that it should be better than the one that I found. And that has been the passion of my life since then. And Joe Biden, that the viral meme about Joe Biden being the one who came in and healed us, it's hate, heal, Kamala is grow. Joe Biden really was that bridge. He really did facilitate that healing moment. I firmly believe that. I mean, I get accused of being a Joe Biden stan to a fault. I love the man, but he has proven himself to be a true patriot. And he has been the bridge between the past and what I believe will be the future. And Kamala is that future. And it's an incredibly exciting moment in time. And I'm incredibly proud to be a part of this. I'm on the East Coast, as you know, and you're on the West Coast. I have much love for the West Coast. So I'm extremely proud and excited to be on this call. But here's the deal, right? This is the most consequential election of our lives. And none of us can afford to sit on the sidelines right now. It's a binary choice between a prosecutor and a predator, between freedom and oppression, between democracy and autocracy, between being pulled back into the past or propelled into the future. And I know, I get it. A lot of us, myself included, full confession, have taken democracy for granted. Like it's just gravity. It'll always be there, right? Like you don't have to think about it or participate in it. But that's the thing, is that it's not just like gravity. And what we've seen over the last many years is that it's a fragile, living, breathing thing, and that it requires the participation of we, the people. And we, the people, have this opportunity in this moment to use our voices, to use our votes, to use our power to shape this democracy, to shape our collective futures, to make this the world we want to leave behind for our kids and for their kids. And I truly believe that if you get out there and you talk to your friends, you talk to your family, talk to the grocery store clerk, the mailman, talk to your dog. I'm just kidding. Okay, dogs don't vote. But for real, talk to everyone you know. Talk to them about the things that matter. There's more that unites us than divides us. I firmly believe that. And those conversations are where those connections happen. And I just believe we can do this. Let's get out there and do this from coast to coast. And thank you for including me in this incredible webinar, this incredible call.
Thank you so much, JoJo. You are such a star. Everybody, you have got to go to her socials. You will love what a badass she is. She is just incredible. And so this was so exciting for us. And before we wrap this up, I want to make sure that I give a huge thank you to all of the guests that took time tonight from coast to coast, as JoJo just said, you know, from Maine, even getting a video from Lewis Black and having one of our representatives show up. I mean, it's just been incredible. And of course, I want to thank my team. I also want to thank the Harris campaign. They have been the best group to work with. They're managing the Zoom and the signups, and they just couldn't have been a better group of humans to work with. And we are so grateful for you as well. And of course, thank you to all of you who showed up and came together as a community of joyful warriors to be here tonight and get some ideas to keep that momentum going, to take your time with us and to meet some of our friends, you know, who are out there doing extraordinary things. So the goal of this rally was to inspire you to get out the vote and find your way to contribute to the campaign, however that looks. It's not money for everybody, right? Sometimes it's about getting out there and knocking doors. Sometimes it's about chalking in your front yard. We're going to win this thing, but it's going to take a lot of work by each and every one of us over these final few weeks. And I want to remind you that we are not going back. And the way that we solidify that is making a commitment to do one thing to win every single day. So with that, I send you all loads of love. Thank you for being here. I can't wait until we can all crack that champagne and celebrate together, because it's going to happen. And for those of you who want to learn more about Reach in the next few minutes, in order to get in touch with family members and have some of these conversations, I'm going to invite you to stay for the next 30 minutes, and I'm going to hand this over to a member of the campaign team who's going to teach you about it. So many thanks. Bye, everybody.